Yo, it's your boy, Pickle Mumble, and today we're gonna be doing a tier list on Rumble power-ups. I thought, I got to GC3 in the normal 2s and 3 game modes. I'm a failed SSL, but I did get SSL in Rumble. So, I thought I would be kind of somewhat qualified to make a tier list, so you can kind of navigate what to do when you have power-ups in Rumble. Alright, let's start off easy, and that is with the Tornado. Now, the Tornado is an easy F tier. Easy F tier. Not only is it useless, virtually useless, you have to just go for a demi-heavy playstyle. You have to put yourself out of play to make this useful. Not only that, is once you get it and you don't want to do that, because not a lot of players want to do that anyway, you have to wait 5 to 10 seconds to get rid of the power-up, and then another 10 seconds to get a new power-up. Not only is it a waste of time, it's easy contention. It's the only one actually in F tier, because I don't think it's very useful. And I think a lot of people will agree with me on this one. It's just not good. It's just like when you get it, you're like, I have a Tornado, boys. I'm useless for the next 15 seconds. That's basically it. Unless you go demo, but that's it. All right, and now the next one is the Punch. Now, the Punch, I was kind of trying to figure out where to put it, and I figure this is the hardest one, because at high levels, Punch is easy S tier. Easy S tier at high levels. At low levels, even then, it's still kind of an S tier, but it's not as high of an S tier, if that makes sense. It's like more of an A+, because it takes a good amount of skill to use. So I think I'm comfortable in putting in an S tier. I'm sure I'm gonna make it orderly, so like there's better power-ups in this for sure. So I'm gonna move it down the list once I get to one of those, but for now, the Punch is just an easy S tier. It's an easy goal. It's easy defense. It messes with other OP power-ups. I don't think that's a hot take on this one. I don't think it's a hot take to say that the Punch is an S tier. Not easy S tier, but it's an S tier. All right, now let's move on to the Power Fist, Golden Fist. I don't know what it's called actually. The Boomer mode. You basically get Boomer mode. This is another situational one. When this was my favorite power-up when I started playing the game. I love just booming the ball. Now that I'm like SSL, you're kind of weighing the usefulness of it. It's like the Tornado where you have to wait a set amount of time, and it's a pretty long amount of time too. So even if you're not that great with it, you do kill a lot of time just getting the power-up. I'm thinking I'm gonna put this one C tier, just because it's not super useful. It's very situational, and if someone runs up on you with a better power-up, like let's say spikes, someone's coming at you with spikes and you have that power fist, you can't do anything. You're literally like, okay, you have complete control of the ball, and it's very situational. So I think I'm pretty comfortable in putting this in C tier. This might be a hot take, because this is a very fun power-up. It's very fun, but when you nail it down to usefulness, it's just not that useful. Like, the best you can do is snipe or get a good clear. That's basically it. So I'm pretty confident putting this in a C tier. Maybe, yeah, let me know in the comments if you would put it higher or lower. I know this is a hot take, but all right, now the easiest one of them all. This is the easiest S tier ever. Get out of the way, Punch. You are number 1 Plunger. Plunger is easy number 1. Low ranks, high ranks, doesn't matter. It's the best goalie. It's the best scoring thing. It's just overpowered, really. Like, there's only one other contender for it, and even then, the Plunger is still just better. It's just so good in any format, any rank. I shouldn't say any format in this format, but any rank. It's just. I don't think this is a hot. I don't think this is a. I don't think anyone will disagree. I think everyone thinks Plunger is the best one, and it's true. It's just too good. It's just too good. Okay, now we got the Teleport. Teleport is another one. What it has its usefulness. It really does, but it also is one of those things where It's not super useful. You can make people go to the play. I think this is also going to join the Power Fist in the C tier. It's situational. You can get rid of a defender. You can, if you're going for a risky ball, you can teleport someone else so then they get out of play. Like, let's say you go for a high aerial and you miss, or you do whatever you needed to do, like hit the ball center. And then instead of recovering, you can just teleport to get an instant recovery. That's basically the usefulness of it. Teleporting a defender who's last back is also somewhat useful, but it's also very risky because if your teammate, you have to trust your teammates for that. So I think I'm pretty comfortable putting it a C tier. If it wasted more time like the tornado or the punch, it would probably be D tier. But since it's insta and then you can just go on with your life for 10 seconds, I think I'm pretty comfortable putting it in a C tier. Alright, now the infinite boost. The infinite boost is a weird one. I know a lot of people really hate this one, and I know it's just a meme because you're giving them infinite boost. But in reality, if you do it in one specific way, and that is if you give last back infinite boost, it can be okay. It can really be okay. Say two people put themselves out of position, and then you just infinite boost the last defender. They can't really do anything about it, but that's the only way it's useful. And not to mention, an infinite boost is kind of like the tornado, where it does kill a lot of time. But I would also argue that the infinite boost is a little better than the tornado, just because you can do it from far away. You don't have to like put yourself out of play just to use the power up. So I think I'm comfortable putting this in a D tier. It's not good. Don't get me wrong. It's not good. You don't want this power up at all. But I find it more useful than the tornado. The tornado is just in a class of its own. It might be just because my playstyle is not like that, but you have to put yourself out of position. And with the infinite boost, you don't have to put yourself out of position. You can go about the play. You're giving someone infinite boost, which kind of sucks. And if they have spikes and you give someone infinite boost, that's just an automatic goal regardless. Yeah, I think I'm comfortable putting it D. It's if I could, and if there was mixes, maybe it'd be D minus. But like that's just, yeah. I think I'm comfortable putting it in a D tier. Now Magnet. Magnet's a weird one. Magnet, ask me 3 months ago, I would have put Magnet probably F tier, honestly, just because I didn't personally like it. But that is until I found out how to use it. There is a specific way how to use it, and that is you hit the ball and then you activate Magnet. So well, let's say for example, you can even boom the ball, activate Magnet, the Magnet will automatically pull it back to your car. And it's pretty hard not to do that. So, for example, if you're just, let's say the ball's in the air, all you have to do is fly up to the ball, touch it just like a little boop, and then activate Magnet, and then the ball would be hard stuck to your car for the rest of the game. Magnet is basically a worse spikes, but spikes are overpowered. So, like, take that as you will, you know? If I didn't know how to use it, I would probably put it in a D tier. But since I know how to use it now, and I got a good amount of goals off of it, and it takes a little bit of practice, but once you get it, I think it's a B tier. It has the same counters, all the exact same counters as Spikes does, but it just does it worse. But that being said, it's still good, you know? It does also take a little bit of time to activate, so it can be detrimental for your team, but at the same time, it does score goals, and that's all that really matters. So I think I'm comfortable putting that at a solid B tier. All right, now Spikes. Spikes is another one of those things. I'm not sure. I don't remember early game how good Spikes were. All I know is Spikes late game that's basically all the goals. Goals are punch, spikes, and plunger. That's basically all the goals, and I'm pretty confident and comfortable putting this at S tier. A little better than punch. Okay. The spikes are super overpowered, but they have a lot of counters. The punch doesn't have a whole lot of counters, but it's not as consistent as scoring as the spikes. So I think the offensive power of the spikes outweighs the negatives that it already has. And I think a lot of people agree with me that at a high level game, if you get spikes, it's almost impossible. Well, if you have spikes and they don't have power-ups, let's say everyone's on cooldown, they're on that 10-second thing, they all blow their loads super early, and then you come up with the spikes, you're basically scoring. There's not a lot they can do about it as like physical cars on the field, right? They have counters like the grappling hook, the boot, the freeze, teleport, and the plunger. Maybe the punch. Punch is situational if you're in the air. it has a lot of power-ups, but or a lot of counters, sorry, but even considering that, it's still a solid S tier. It's still so overpowered at high ranks. I'm not sure about low ranks, like I said, but at high ranks, it's so overpowered that I think it should even deserves an S tier regardless, because that's where majority of it's not as good as the plunger, but it's close. It's pretty close. All right, now let's do the freeze. The freeze, I was struggling with this one because I personally like the freeze a lot more than a lot of people. I think it has a far more usefulness than what people consider. I was thinking about putting it S tier, but that's my personal bias here. I can't do it. It's not good enough on offense. That's the problem here. Now, I think I'm comfortable putting this at the top of A tier. It's just the best defensive power up. It counters everything. It literally says stop. Well, obviously it's a freeze. It literally just says it's the best goalie in the game. The freeze is the best goalie in the game. It counters all the S tier power ups, and that's why I kind of wanted to put it in S tier. But at the same time, it's just not quite good enough. And unlike Spikes, where it's OP on offense and it's like just useless on defense, this freeze is literally the opposite. But the Spikes does it so much better than the freeze does on offense, and goals are all that really matter, that I'm comfortable putting that in S tier, and I think I'm okay with putting this at an A tier. If I could, I would put it A+, but since we're not doing that, I think I'm just gonna put it at the top of 8. The boot's another one. It's almost like the freeze, where it's strictly on defense. You use this only for defensive purposes. Someone has spikes, you boot them away. Someone has a magnet, you boot them away. Someone's in front of you, you boot them away. It's good. It's solid. Honestly, this is one where, yeah, this is a power up that isn't useless. It's not great. I think it's just a solid B tier, honestly. It's a good defensive tool. Obviously, it doesn't counter everything, but it does do a good amount of stuff, and it gets someone out of play for a minute. It's solid. It's not great. I think I'm comfortable putting it at B tier. I don't know if I would put it top of B tier. I think I might put it top of B tier just because it's instant, and you can just boot someone out of the way and then just get a new power up immediately. Magnet's really good. It's not really good. It can be good, but I think the magnet just has too many downsides, where the boot is just solid. It's just solid, you know? Like, if you get a boot, you're not like, damn it, I got like infinite boost for someone. You're just like, okay, I got a boot, I can remove someone out of the play. It's hilarious if you're last man back and it's like a 1v1 scenario and you boot someone out of the way, just get an open net. It's hilarious. But so that's why I want to put it top of B tier. It can be offensive. It's mainly for defensive. I think I'm comfortable putting it at top of B tier. And finally, the grappling hook. I think this one might be the hottest take here. I think grappling hook is a bottom A tier power up. And the reason that is because it's really good on defense. It is. Granted, sometimes a plunger or a punch, if the ball's going too fast, the grappling hook does nothing, and then you go backwards from the ball. It's really weird how it works, and that's the reason that bug is the reason it's probably not an S tier. And I know it's not a bug, it's the coding in the game, but that's the reason it's not an S tier. If it just went like an actual grappling hook to the ball instantly every time, it would probably be S tier. But the fact that if the ball is going too fast and you're not coming from it at the side, you're kind of just getting carried by the ball, and then you'll be in a detrimental spot for you and your team. But that also being said, that's like the only negative side to it. And it's like super OP on defense. Super OP. Not as OP as the freeze, and that's the reason freeze is above it. But it's still solid enough where it could be like that. Yeah. So basically, S tier, I wanna emphasize the tiers now. S tier is you can hold on to these power-ups for like a minute plus because they're so game-changing. Like, if you have these and you don't get scored on, these are the power-ups to instantly score you a goal. Instantly, like, these are the power-ups that are game-changing, obviously, because they're an S tier. A tier, I would say you can hold on to these for about 30 seconds. Like, that would be solid. After that, you kind of just want to get rid of it because you want to try to fish for these S tier ones. freeze is situational. I think you can hold on for freeze as long as you possibly can, because if you have a freeze and you're in a good spot, you're not getting scored on. You're just not, right? So that's why I wanted to put it in S tier, but I think it's just not quite as good as them. So I'll say you can hold on to them for about 30 seconds, and no one will be upset with you, and your team won't be upset with you. Yeah. B tier, you basically want to use them almost as soon as possible, but not quite. They're still situational, because with the magnet, you need time alone. You need to hit the ball, use the magnet, and then do your thing. You want to use them almost instantly, right, when you get them, but you also want to wait for an opportune moment to use them. Boot's also a little different. Boot is almost like the freeze. You can hold on to the boot for a little bit longer, and then boot someone away just when it's situational. Because if someone has spikes and you have a boot, they just can't score. Like, stuff like that. It's good, it's just not great. C tier, you want to use instantly. You never want to hold on to these. C tier, D tier, and F tier, all instantly. Literally, the second you get them, you want to use them. Even with the power fist, you want to use it because you can wait like 5 seconds, 5 to like 10 seconds. I don't know how long it lasts, but in that 5 seconds, you're basically a powerhouse. So you use it instantly and then just go. You know. Yeah, there's not much really to say about C tier, D tier, and F tier. Basically, just use them instantly. Fish out for the other half of the OP power ups. And just hope you don't get these again. F tier tornadoes, you just have to put yourself out of play. It takes too long to do. You're out of position once it ends. It's just self-explanatory. I don't think they're like, sure, the tornado could be fun for some people at low ranks, but at high ranks around GC, it's just you get it and you're like, damn it, now I have to wait 15 seconds just to do nothing, you know? Infinite boost, you just want to instantly put it on the last defender. Instantly. Always move your camera for the infinite boost. Move your camera, get it on the last man, hit the last man with it, and then go about your day. That's it. That's about as useful it is. And the reason that's D tier is because of that. Is because you just put on last man, and then you just don't think about it. That's it. And then teleport is pretty self-explanatory. It counters spikes, but at the same time, that's basically all it counters. Right? Yeah, it's basically all, and then maybe magnet too, but that's basically all it counters. So you basically want to use it as soon as possible. Put yourself out of position, use it, and then get someone, an opponent out of position instantly. That's basically it. So yeah, if you learn anything, let me know in the comments. If you disagree or agree with anything, where you would move everything, let me know. I'm curious to see how this would kind of turn out in the long run, how it'll age, you know. Let me know if you change anything. Yeah, and that's it. Have a good day. Bye.